I wanted to start off, I'll just say, you have eloquently and consistently argued that you are not anti-Semitic in any fashion. Why do you think accusations of anti-Semitism have dogged you?
Well, on the Palestinian issue, there's only one side to the conversation, and people are always saying, you know, it's so complex. No, it's not. It's really, really simple. It's a simple question of whether or not we believe in human rights. And I do, and the Israeli government doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't have that conversation because there's only one right side to that. There really is only one right side. And so they can't have the conversation. So the alternative to having the conversation is to do the invasion of the body snatchers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
He's an anti-Semite. No, I'm not. And neither are all my friends in BDS. None of them are anti-Semitic.
Mm-hmm. Do you suspect is that because you're such an ardent supporter of BDS, that's the evidence or part of the example that they give for your anti-Semitism?
Yeah, there's been this whole thing recently with the IHRA, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, I believe, definition, which now includes any criticism of the Israeli government policies as a hate crime, which is completely nonsensical, as we know. But there it is. However, the fact that somebody that actually has no real power to define what words mean. They're not lexicographers. They're not writing a new dictionary. They're not Samuel Johnson. They're just interested in propaganda to support that state.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the next few years are going to be really interesting and hopefully won't lead to a global conflagration. Mm-hmm. That will kill us all, because it could happen.
Yeah. If I'm correct, you just turned 76?
I did.
Right. And one of the things I have to say that Jim and I are awed by the location. We are humbled by the location, which is so fantastic. And obviously you're a world-renowned musician. Why do you put yourself through this world of political activism when it's so contentious? I mean, you could kick back, you could relax, you could enjoy the scenery here in the Hamptons. So what compels you to do it?
Well, I don't have a choice, really. I think we are saddled or blessed with the genes that we get from our parents. My parents were both very committed politically to all kinds of causes.
Mm-hmm.
My father through his fairly short life, and my mother through her fairly long life. My mum used to say to me, and I've said this before in interviews or I've written it, she said to me, Roger, whenever a question arises about what you should or shouldn't do on any issue, really, there's nearly always a right thing to do. You just have to figure out what it is and then do it. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of it. So the right thing, for instance, tomorrow I'm going to Herald Square. There's something this is completely new for me, because the climate change lobby and also the anti-war lobby are combining. It's a joint march to the UN, because it's UN General Assembly Week in New York City. So I'm going to go there and stand on the stage and have my 3 minutes of,
Mm-hmm.
saying whatever pops into my mind. But this is new for me. Like last week I was in London and I sang Wish You Were Here.
I saw it.
Okay, well,
that was fantastic.
And I stood on the stage with the wonderful John Pilger, and we had dinner later, and so there was a bit of drinking and hugging, which I adore, which was fantastic. I've known him off and on since my Radio Chaos tour, when I used a lot of the film he made with David Munro that was called The Four Horsemen, which was specifically a documentary pointing out that the arms industry starts and fuels and maintains the state of war because that's how they make their money. And it was true then, and it's even truer now. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm going back on the road next year. I've decided to do dates in the United States and Canada, and I've just added 3 dates in Mexico City because I love Mexico, and I love Mexico City. And I thought long and hard before committing to going back on the road. It means making a new show, but I think next year is hugely important.
Jim and I were talking on the way as I sent you my email. When I'm not teaching, Jim and I filmed for the last 18 months on the border. And we've gone, really from San Diego through Big Bend, and I've talked to asylum seekers and kids in cages. And I was in El Paso when they dropped off 1,000 refugees, and they just went to all these different hotels. And I shouted a doctor there, a fantastic guy by the name of Dr. Carlos Gutierrez, and he gives all this medical attention. And we were thinking, it'd be great if you had a concert right at the wall.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because the mayor of Juarez wrote to me recently and said, will you come and do a concert in Juarez? So I may well be able to do that. It's a question of a free concert. This would be a free concert, so free for the people. There's no such thing as a free lunch, as we all know, but somebody has to pay for it. If I go and do a concert, it's a big crew and it's a big this and that and the other.
Absolutely.
And, whatever. So I'm really hoping to do that. Probably my favourite gig in the last 10 years was when we played in Zocalo Square in Mexico City, free. So we had like 300,000 people, something like that, spreading out into all the streets. We were playing in front of the presidential palace. I made a speech to him. He's gone now, thank goodness. We've got a somewhat more progressive president in Mexico, so hopefully they'll make some strides in the right direction. I don't know.
I think the wall is this incredible backdrop for your particular concert, on both sides of the border as a unifier would just be absolutely fantastic. I mean, one of the things we're doing is just looking at this physical construct of a border, but also the border or the wall in the imagination of people. I mean, what does it mean to Mexicans? What does it mean to the Americans there? What kind of shared? It's almost like a hybridity when people are right there on the border. I thought that would just be such a fantastic. Roger Waters brings both sides, together at the wall. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. So.
Well, you may be right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sort of simple concept. The biggest wall within the context of this conversation we're having about that part of the geography of the globe is the wall, in my view, is the wall between the citizens of the United States of America and the reality of their past and who they are and what this country is and what it represents and whatever, because they are infected by the propaganda machine that tells them what it is. And we know that what the propaganda machine tells them is not what it is.
Absolutely.
This is not a benign, benevolent, freedom-loving place. It is the absolute bastion of everything that is evil about the human race as well. I mean, I'm not picking the United States out particularly, except that it's so powerful and spends so much money on its military and wants to rule the world in like a old kind of imperial power. They want to be the Roman Empire, and to some large extent they're succeeding.